Today, I'm just going to be talking about a few projects that I've been able to create over the last week. One of them is just like a very, very short documentary type of run and gun type of shoot that I was kind of experimenting with a new lens. It's a 28mm f2.8. I wanted to experiment with this lens on the Gemini and also shooting at a high ISO because this camera is great for low light. Sometimes we get caught up in shooting with lenses that are very shallow, like a T1.5 or 1.2. I had a whole bunch of these lenses that I could have shot with, but instead of shooting on a very shallow depth of field lens and kind of making that depth of field or a very shallow depth of field more interesting to the audience, I kind of wanted to use more camera technique, color grading, visuals, and audio. For the talking head stuff, I used my 50 1.5, the Rokinon with the anamorphic insert in the lens, only because we were shooting here in the studio and the 28mm just wasn't cutting it. I needed something to crop in a little bit more. So yeah, I wanted to shoot the 28mm. It's very soft. I had to bring the contrast up a little bit on the image, just because it was a little bit hazy. Everything was shot on the red Gemini. Now the low light situation, that was all in ISO 5000. Now if I did leave the image alone without denoising it, I only did very little denoising to the image. I mean, I could have added some grain and could have blended in with that. Mind you, I did denoise it tiny bit, but I also added grain in the final product as well, just to give it more of a filmic looking character. And the reason why I wanted to shoot on this 28-2.8 lens is because I love creating such a soft image. It's more of an organic filmic looking image instead of putting like a Sigma 35 1.4 or something like that on this camera. It is going to give you that shallow depth of field, but it's also going to make the image much more sharper, more digital. Even though the red Gemini has a great sensor, but I also just wanted to have like a very soft looking image, and that's why I used the 28mm. That aside, I also picked up a new FD to Z mount adapter. So I'm going to be testing out the Nikon Z30 again on a shoot. I want to put the quality of the video away and kind of use something that is a little bit lower end, like the Nikon Z30. If you guys are interested, I have a video up here for you guys to take a look at. I want to move away from shooting in like the new 4K or 5K sensors and shoot with like something crop and something that is not meant for this type of work. The Nikon Z30 is more of like a travel vlogging type of camera, but I'm gonna slap my Canon FD55 1.2 in front of the sensor and see what kind of image we can create. because you know, I am a firm believer that the lens kind of tells the story more than what the camera does, of course. It all depends on what you put in front of that sensor, because you can have a great image, great expensive lens, but shitty lighting. It's not always about buying the most expensive gear and trying to create something. It's more about how to light, what you put in front of that sensor. That's going to be what's going to be telling the story. And we're just going to try and create something good as if I were able to create with the FX3 or with my Red Gemini. I'm going to let the FD kind of tell the story and also improve on the lighting for this situation. It's going to be just a sit down type of shot in the car, nighttime, like I've done previously on a few videos here on the channel. If you guys are interested in those, I'll put a link down below or somewhere up here. But I'm gonna try and use this FD to improve on the camera that I'm using, which is the Nikon Z30, and make something good out of that and add more lighting into this project and kind of just make this camera look better than what it's actually meant for. So this is gonna be the camera that we're gonna be working with, the Nikon Z30. We're gonna be using the Canon FD lens with the CanF Concept FD to Z mount converter. This is the FD 55 1.2. Now this is not a 55 on the Nikon Z30. This is more of like, I would say like an 80 right now because of the crop sensor on the Nikon Z30. But we're gonna work with what we have because that's the whole purpose of this video. And we're gonna see what we can kind of come up with from scratch. So we're gonna be keeping this on the budget side. So for this shoot, we are gonna be using the small rig portable light. I believe this is the 60 watt portable light. All right, so we're gonna bring our small rig light on this side here. We're gonna have it light up here. And the reason why I like using this light, and it's the RC6B, super portable. We got a battery pack on the back here. If we run out of battery, you can just go USB to USB-C. And we have our dimming options, color, temperature here, and it also comes like this little mini softbox, octabox, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to put that light there, and then we're going to set up the pavo tubes around. But we're going to start off with our key light, our main light, and then we're going to work around setting up some pavo tubes around the car, maybe adding like a cop effect or something. Now we have the pavo light, looks about 4,000 Kelvin right there. This light didn't change at all. We got the Nikon Z30 right now. I put the camera a little lower just to give us a little bit more of an angle coming up. So we're gonna see how this looks. Okay, so I added diffusion cloth on the small rig light right now just to make the light a little softer. And then I also added the pavo tube on the back here just to kind of give me some backlight to separate me from the seat, because I am wearing black and I don't want myself to be blending in with the chair. So yeah, this is gonna be a little bit softer now, and then we have some more separation. So our main key light set to 4200 Kelvin. This one here, and then this one here set to 5600 Kelvin. And then this is gonna be the final shot for this sequence here. We're gonna hit record. So the whole purpose of why I want to do this is just to kind of keep this on a lower budget friendly side of like a little mini production of where you can create. You don't need high-end cinema cameras to create something good. A few lights, some diffusion, some good. We're shooting on the Nikon Z30, super cheap camera, $700-800, cheap FD adapter. Anyone who is starting off in cinematography or creating a YouTube channel, or someone who just wants to get better at lighting, this is probably like one of the most easiest
best ways to start out if you want to make something like this. 3 lights, 1 key light, 2 lights behind you, 1 on the side, different temperature. It's all about getting the angles, composition. You know, you don't need the most updated 5K, 6K sensor, whatever it is. We're not even shooting in a low light mode on a Sony. We're shooting on a Nikon Z30 that is under $1,000 that doesn't have a low light mode. I believe we're at ISO 640, but we are shooting at a 1.2 right now. So that's a benefit that we're able to get out of this camera, but we are still under an ISO of 1000, and it's just insane. Like, this video is just to show you, like, you know, something, you can create something good if you have a good concept in mind, good lighting. I'll put a links of the equipment that I'm also using in the description below, and we'll see you guys on the next video.